In my column this week, I'm trying to give a bit of career advice to your kids, if you will. Once again, you are homeschooling. You are trying to ensure that your kids have the best possible future. What kind of subjects should you possibly encourage your kids to focus on, to concentrate on? Well, let's think about what we know about the future of work and work backwards from there. We do know for a fact that Australia and essentially all industrialized economies will further move to knowledge work, away from industrial, from manufacturing type work to the knowledge economies. We do know, for example, in Australia over the last 50 years, half of the net new jobs that we added to Australia required at least a university level degree. So therefore, of course, education is king. Send your kids to uni. That's reasonable career advice. There are, of course, plenty of highly lucrative trade jobs. A successful mechanical fitter will always earn more than a primary school teacher, for example. Or quite often when I talk about this, you hear about the 200,000 plus plumber who takes home, $300,000 per year. That tradie has a secret trick up their sleeves. They're a small business owner. They don't only earn money themselves, but they also have 2 or 3, maybe even more staff working for them. So that's the way as a tradie to actually multiply your income is to be a tradesperson and a business owner at the same time. But put that aside. Overall, the more highly educated you are, the more money you make. So education, university is definitely still the right path if you want to channel your kids into a certain direction. But what subject should we focus on? Well, we do know that there will be more and more technology integrated into every single aspect of work. So surely the STEM subjects, science, technology, engineering, maths, that is probably where your kids benefit the most, isn't it? Well, I would argue the polar opposite. Sure, you do need to have a basic knowledge of maths, of science, of all these things in a world where these subjects, where these kind of technologies becomes omnipresent. But they will not differentiate you in any way from the rest of the workers. It makes sense if you think about it. In the 1970s, if you had any type of basic computer skills, that was enough to get you a really high-paying job. Today, if you have basic computer skills, that buys you exactly nothing. So what sets you apart in the future is if AI, if robotics take over a larger share of your work tasks. They're being done by technology. The rest of your work tasks that remain with you as an individual worker are interpersonal in nature. That means the kind of skills that you want to encourage your kids even more than now or than ever before are interpersonal in nature. Because the technology, that will take care of itself, if you will. Your kids' employers, they will make sure that your kids are always up to date with technology. They'll sort itself out. But the interpersonal skills, that's the stuff that really sticks, that will carry you throughout your whole career. And there is no other subject that prepares you for the future of work better than theater. Theater, if you think about it, is the subject in high school that most closely resembles the real work environment. A real ecosystem. Sure, there are the actors on stage. There are some kids who teach themselves how to do the lighting, the audio for the piece. Somebody is building the stage set. Somebody creates tickets and flyers and social media around the thing. Some kids set up the chairs, sell the drinks, whatever it is. There's an awful lot that goes into the theater production. That much resembles a real work environment, I would say, much more than a maths class. That's just intellectual, important, but just intellectual work. It doesn't resemble the real world. The theater, funnily enough, is closest to reality. And in a future of work where we more and more interact with other people, where you are more and more forced to make a point in front of clients, colleagues, the board, the boss, the hiring committee. Theater is super important simply because it takes away the fear of being on stage. That is an invaluable lesson that you can teach your kids by forcing them to be, nudging them, let's say, to be part of the theater class. Problem, quite obviously, during lockdown is that this super crucial skill that can only be taught through real life experience is unavailable to kids. And that is a massive burden that lies on the young generation. And it's hard to play catch up with this. So maybe if your kids went through the later years of high school during lockdown, during COVID, encourage them to do a bit of theater during uni. Because after uni, once you're out of uni, you'll unlikely go back to theater. It's just such a time intense hobby. You don't take it up afterwards. So while you're young, while you have time at your hands, this is the best part of your life to actually engage in this skill. I put a bit more data around this in my column, which is linked below. So please feel free to have a look at the column and follow this YouTube channel for more demographic data insights.